you, Greg. I appreciate it. And welcome, friends. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the next step that we're taking toward a championship, another championship in the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. And that is going to be under the guidance of our new manager. Now, best said, our new manager is a baseball guy. He's a baseball guy. Now, he was a wonderful player when he was younger, of course. He began his, he was from Dunkirk, but he actually played in the Babe Ruth League World Series at Dietrich Park. He began his coaching career as an assistant at Jamestown Community College with Anthony Barone, who is a real treasure to Chautauqua County, I must say, Anthony. And he was at JCC, and my son, actually, we were living in Florida at the time, came and played for our new manager and Anthony Barone at JCC. And he then went to Canisius University, and at Canisius he was a pitching coach and did other various things, but he also earned a master's degree in sports management, so that not only on the field is he sophisticated and advanced, but also off the field. From Canisius University, he was able to go to Wingate University, had some experience there. Patrick Henry Community College, where he had great success as a manager there in Virginia. From Patrick Henry, he went to USA Baseball. USA Baseball is the largest amateur program in the United States. This is a big deal. And he had success there. From USA Baseball, he went to the Minnesota Twins as a rehab instructor. And since then, he has been affiliated with the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, that type of resume for a young guy is very unusual. It's very unusual, and it portends success for us. And he's coming back home to manage the Tarp Skunks. That's awesome. And coming back home is a big thing, and it's important to him. Now, with his knowledge of baseball and bringing it back to Jamestown, bringing these things back, the baseball landscape is changing, especially in the college game. There's a thing called NIL, name, image, and likeness, where players in college can be paid. And the development of players is changing. It's no longer that a player will be in college for 4 years and develop and then hope to get drafted. There's something called the transfer portal, where good players can play 1 year, go into the transfer portal and, transfer to another school. And it really has created upheaval in the whole player development world. Now, our new manager understands this. He's been involved in scouting, he's been involved in player development, and he understands where this is going. His plans are to make the Tarp Skunks designed as a professional organization so that players who come here can see what it's going to be like at the next level. This is very important, and it's where the future of college baseball is going. So, my friends, it is my honor to introduce you to the new manager of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks, Frank Jagoda III.
Thank you, George, for the nice introduction. And thank you to everybody here today. I'll get the thank yous out of the way first. First and foremost, thank you to the board of directors. About 12 months ago, they brought me on to serve alongside them on the board. With my schedule, I was traveling a lot, in and out of Jamestown, gone well over 100 nights a year, doing various things throughout professional baseball with the Tampa Bay Rays. And I always was looking for opportunities to give back and get back to the area. And as you know, there's not many colleges in the immediate area, so opportunities are somewhat limited to do so. So a big thanks to the board for bringing me back and allowing me to be part of the group. Also need to give a couple other thanks. First and foremost to Anthony Barone. He spoke. He kind of mentioned it. George touched on it. I've known Anthony for over 20 years. I played at Dunkirk High School, and I was that gung-ho player in high school who was just, Division I, Division I, Division I. And, if it's not Division I, it's not for me. And that was just such a wrong approach at the time. And Anthony was gracious enough after I transferred back from University at Buffalo, where I did play, to give me a chance to kind of restart my career. It also afforded me the opportunity to eventually meet my wife, who I'll talk about in a minute here. And so from Jamestown Community College, went with a couple other Jayhawks to Gannon University to finish my career, and then started back up here, as George mentioned, working for Anthony, who gave me my first coaching job. That was 16 years ago now. So I've been at this a long time, and very fortunate, again, to the board and Anthony for bringing me back. But special thanks to my wife, who has really put up with the hustle and bustle and the travel over the last 16 years, especially over the last 8 on the professional side. I think there was a stretch where we moved 7 times in 10 years. Quite a bit of travel, quite a bit of gone. I've missed, a lot of, weddings, funerals, birthdays, a lot of special things. And 4 years ago, when we moved home back to this area, I knew it was for good, and it was always for the better. And now, fortunate for Tara and I, we have our 9-month-old son, Grayson, up there. So if you hear someone kind of laughing and hanging out, or maybe even crying, we'll see. We wouldn't be here with him if it wasn't for the decision to move home 4 years ago. So very thankful for that. But yeah, like I said, I've been on the board for just over a year now. And as things evolved, it became clear that, managing was a real possibility for me. And it's something I wanted to explore. Had conversations with different board members and kind of thought it over with my wife and other people in the game. And, just kind of wanted to see a few things and really wanted to, find a way to give back even more to this area. And as a group, we decided that it was the right time for this to happen. It's a full circle moment for me. As George mentioned, I grew up in Dunkirk, 05 graduate. I played in the 2003 16-year-old Babe Ruth World Series with numerous guys from Jamestown and, guys from all over the county. And I see Scott Kimbrig here. I've known him quite a while as well, and he's covered a lot of my high school sports and a lot of my wife's high school sports, who was a rock star soccer player. And so this is a full circle moment, Having traveled the world and the country over the past 16 years as a college coach, a director, scout, and coach with USA Baseball, and a professional scout and coach with the Twins and the Tampa Bay Rays, having the opportunity to manage back home is something very special. And I've played numerous games at Dietrich Park. I've coached numerous games at Dietrich Park, and I wouldn't have it any other way, and really excited to get going. So as we go, obviously sitting here today, middle of December, we're in the middle of building the roster. And where does that sit? As the roster evolves, we're in a good spot. At this point in the process, we're roughly around 33 commitments for the summer, and we're pushing towards the roster limit of 40. The Perfect Game League allows a 40-man roster. If all 40 guys show up, I'm in deep trouble, so we'll see how that goes. But I guess that would be a good problem to have, a welcomed problem, I guess you could say. We're really looking forward to getting this group in. We're currently represented by kids from 8 different states and 21 different colleges throughout the country. So we're really excited, and we also have players from various different levels. So you have the Division I level, we'll have representation from that level, the Division II level, the Division III level, and the junior college level, as well as the high school level. So high school seniors who are committed to continue on their education and their career moving forward. The biggest thing, Anthony touched on a lot of stories and a lot of things, and there were some cool videos, and George mentioned some things. The biggest thing about the baseball in this area is that it's very passionate, right? And that's one thing that I hope that we can message in our clubhouse. We do plan to run this thing like a professional organization to the best of our capabilities. Obviously, there's going to be things on a daily basis that, that are out of our control, but, really looking forward to, providing a product for fans and for our investors and for the board that is, a representation of our community. Hard-nosed, blue-collar folks in this area that really, really love their baseball. The one thing that I talk about a lot when talking to our players or prospective players is we're involved in the community at a high level. We do a lot of community service events, which I think is important, and we're out there. We're out there in the community in many different ways. I've been fortunate enough. My mother-in-law works at the Lutheran home. She runs the cafe there, and we've done an event there the last 2 years. And I've gone to those events the last 2 summers and have seen kind of the look on the people's faces when, the Tarp Skunks come in, and it's really a cool moment. And so I share with the players, it's not just about baseball, it's about your personal development and your on and off field development. Obviously our goal is to win a perfect game summer championship, but I think a really cool moment would be, developing these players and in, 2 or 3 years, watching them get drafted, and then maybe 4 or 5, 6 years down the road, watching some of them play in the big leagues. That's our goal. And I truly feel if you give the players, especially in today's age, as we know, it's a different era of kid these days. And so I could say that now. George, you said young man. I don't know. I'm closer to 40 than I am 20. So, I think when you give players the autonomy to have some investment in their career and have some say in their development, it goes a long way. Anthony kind of spoke on the difference between college summer baseball and professional baseball, and I couldn't agree more. Having spent the last 8 years in professional baseball, you're dealing with someone's livelihood when you do that. A lot of players, have wives and kids, and it's their livelihood, and so you call them into the office, and sometimes you have to say, hey, the organization's made a decision to go ahead and release you, and you're kind of crushing their hopes and their dreams, and you're really impacting someone's livelihood and their family. And so those are some of the differences, but there's also some parallels, right? It's a 44-game schedule in a very short period of time. There is bus trips. There's day games after night games. We're going to structure the day, as George mentioned, we're going to structure the day that is going to look like a day-to-day pro schedule. So we're really excited about that and some of the things we're going to bring to the table. Another thing about our roster, and I'll wrap this up here soon because I know you guys don't want to hear me talk too long because I could go on all day, but we're proud to have a sizable number of local products, local players that are going to be playing with us this summer. Jameson Walsh from Southwestern High School, who's a freshman at University of Albany. Chase Haglin, who is from Frewsburg High School, who is a Division I college commit to University of Marist. We'll have a few players from Gowanda, who will be with us this summer as well. And that's just to name a few. We'll have some players from Warren, players from Erie, Pennsylvania, so local to us, and so there's going to be a lot of opportunities to get to know players not only from around the country, but that are right here in our backyard, which I think is really cool. But one of our local players is sitting here today. It's Faulkner native Branson Lindquist. Branston attends St. Mary High School in Lancaster and has signed his national letter of intent to continue his education, most importantly, right, Dad? Education. And athletic career at University of Toledo in the Mid-American Conference. Branson, growing up in Faulkner, has been a staple on Babe Ruth World Series teams, playing in the 2021 13U Babe Ruth World Series, as well as the 2023 13 and 15-year-old Babe Ruth World Series at Dietrich Park. We're excited for Branson to be with us, as we are all of our players, this summer, and I think it's a really cool opportunity for a kid like Branson, who grew up in this area, who has played at Dietrich Park, like myself, like Anthony, like many of the others in this area, but to come back and do it in a different level, right? This is not just a pickup game, Babe Ruth game that, just hopefully you have enough guys and you don't have to put a pitcher in right field, right? This is real college baseball, as Christian mentioned, over 900 fans a game at every game, and up to 2,200 fans on some nights. I could tell you this right now, and I think Anthony could attest to this, George as well, traveling the country on the professional side. I've been to some pretty miserable small minor league towns where there's 40 fans and it is horrendous. So the fact that we're able to put a product like that out is a testament to Christian's hard work, the board and our investors and their hard work, and we're grateful. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for Branston and all of our other local players and our players throughout the country to come in here and compete. We do have goals. We have a goal to win a championship here. But my personal goal is to help develop these players as humans and young men that are going to grow and eventually be, parts of our society. So that's our first goal, and I think when you give them the autonomy to do so, good things happen on the field.